And just go ahead and keep moving here on my deck. My name is Steve Ellis. This is me here on the screen. I'm a partner and the VP of delivery at Sigital, and I'll talk about Sigital here in a second. I'm also the workflows practice lead, which includes the employee workflows as well as customer workflows within the ServiceNow platform. I've got more time than I care to say in the realm of consulting and technology implementation experience. I've been working in the ServiceNow platform exclusively for about the last 7 years here with Sigital. And here's my contact information as well, so feel free to connect or reach out either now or at any point in the future. A little bit about Sigital. So we are a ServiceNow implementation and reseller partner, and you can see some of our metrics here on the screen. We are classified as an elite partner. All we do is the ServiceNow platform, and we do it well. We work pretty much across the entire platform. We have experts in most of the ServiceNow functionality, and then we also have a lot of just general across the platform experience with all of the underlying capabilities that underpin the various specific functionality within ServiceNow, including the retail products. So today we will be covering the retail ServiceNow product. So that includes the retail operations and retail service management products. They are purchased separately, but play together to solve a lot of the retail use cases that we'll talk about today. We'll also talk about why you might want to implement the retail products of ServiceNow versus going with the more generic, I'll say, CSM, which is customer service management, or the IT service management products. And there are some clear benefits for retail clients to utilize their retail products. So we'll talk about those. We'll get a little deeper about what that retail functionality is, how it differentiates from some of the other ServiceNow functionality. And then we'll talk about what are the common retail implementation paths. So as we're out in the market implementing the retail products for our clients, these are some of the paths that we see as the most common paths from where they are today to get onto those retail products. And then we'll talk about how Sigital may be able to help you. And I think we'll have a little bit of time for questions at the end as well. So, please save your questions and submit those in the webinar tool here, and we'll try to answer as many of those as we can. All right, so let's start with why retailers need something different. What is it that they need and want for their stores? So I think what we see across our customers and across the retail industry is really they want their stores or their business locations to run smoothly and profitably. So that that comes through having efficient employees, having a great in-store customer experience. You want your customers to come back. Hopefully it's a seamless experience when they're there, but if there is a glitch or an issue while they're there or with your products, you want to be able to support them and provide them that excellent customer service, both in store and out. So what are some of the challenges to achieving that? With IT systems in particular, we often see where we don't have end-to-end visibility. You might have point solutions that just aren't connected and don't put the whole picture together. So your team, your agents, your store staff, they have to, swivel chair or toggle screens to see the whole picture around what needs to go into providing that service to your customers. We see a lot of manual tools and processes, so they spend a lot of time doing things that are routine but not necessarily value add, where some of those things could be either streamlined or eliminated from a process or potentially automated when they do need to occur, but maybe could be done through smarter systems. And again, we see those siloed and disjointed operations, not only just swivel chairing between certain IT applications, but also between departments and teams that are providing that end-to-end customer support. So for example, you might have a frontline support service desk for your customers, and they're taking calls or receiving tickets from your stores, or directly from customers, but they need to enlist the help of your IT team or your facilities team or other groups within your organization to provide that end-to-end support. And if they're all using disparate systems, then again, those processes can't really be optimized and streamlined across teams. So this results in just more time on tasks and less time actually helping the customer on the floor. It results in slower sales. It results in frustrated employees and ultimately unhappy customers. So, of course, those things are gonna hamper your overall store productivity and profitability. So let's talk about how we can solve some of these things. So we've got, again, on the left listed some of those key challenges: limited visibility, decreasing cost and effort supporting store. I'm sorry, I'd say increasing cost and effort supporting customers and stores. We're trying to drive self-service and efficiency through automation, through AI, through Gen AI. And then looking at reducing complexity by focusing on unifying platforms. In the middle is your business. So how do we do that? We want to accelerate automation. We want to reallocate digital and omni-channel investments so that we're solving the right problems. And we want to ultimately transform that retail store experience, right? Leveraging technology, tying it back to your online presence, right? How do we provide that cohesive experience for your customers? So ultimately, we're looking for the opportunities to unlock maximum efficiency with these unified retail solutions from ServiceNow. So we've got store operations and store maintenance that really falls under that store support category. And then we have customer care, which might be provided in store or might be provided from your central customer service organization at your headquarters or at your customer service offices. So we're looking for lower repair, maintenance, and labor costs. We're looking for low equipment downtime. We're looking for higher store sales, and we're looking for higher customer satisfaction. So that brings us to the ServiceNow product set. So we've got really two products we're going to talk about today. The first one is retail service management. I think now's a good time to point out that there's, I guess we're assuming today that if you're here, you probably are familiar with ServiceNow, you probably are using ServiceNow, or you're considering subscribing to ServiceNow for this use case and potentially others like ITSM, potentially HR service delivery, etc. What we're going to talk about and really focus today is on this new product offering, relatively new from ServiceNow, which is the retail product set, retail service management and retail operations. So we'll start here with retail service management. And essentially what that allows you to do is empower your headquarter teams with intelligent guidance and workspaces and automated processes that harness the power of the organization to deliver a seamless customer experience in store and beyond. So this product, this RSM product, includes ITSM, it includes customer service management, and then it includes also the business location service portal. So these are the various workflow tools that enable you to provide the end-to-end service for your customers from any channel and through the life cycle of fulfillment, and then provide your staff members in your stores and your staff members responsible for stores. It might be regional managers and other territorial managers, as well as the in-store managers. So they're all enabled through this business location service portal, which we'll talk about here in a minute as well. Let me just keep going here. So the retail operations product is really sort of the partner product that goes with retail service management when you're trying to support your retail locations, right? Your operating stores, your operating restaurants, potentially franchises, potentially company owned. You might have dealerships, branches. There's various types of business locations that you're providing customer service to your store, or sales and customer service to your customers. So retail operations is enables model owned and franchise stores. Enables you to model your own and franchise stores along with your staff, your assets, and more with site-based pricing. So we'll talk about how that is kind of advantageous over user-based pricing. That provides store worker access to provide tasking and visibility across the organization. So we'll talk more in detail there. This retail operations product includes it's really two major elements here that complement the retail service management product. The first is the service model foundation, which is essentially bundles a set of retail data models that enable you to model your business accurately, which is really the foundation for successfully automating and establishing these interdepartmental workflows. And then it also includes a field service management basic capability. So there are several tiers of field service management. The basic that is included here provides you the opportunity to create and assign work orders when you have to do any type of work on site for any of your locations. And then it also enables you to manage your inventory at those locations and that your field service team needs to be able to fulfill those work orders. And we'll talk about that and how that differs from some of the higher level field service management products that are an additional purchase on top of the retail products. So again, the retail products allow you to streamline operations, empower your employees and your frontline managers, and create real-time visibility into performance. So we'll talk more in depth here. Won't slow down too much here. So just as we're going through this, there are various personas. We've talked about these already, but all of these various personas are involved in your retail service processes, and there's a different various capabilities for each of these folks as well. So we've got the store employee, the store manager, the retail manager, or the franchise owner, and also your internal call center headquarters, right, where you're receiving phone calls or potentially other types of omni-channel incoming tickets or requests. So again, looking to streamline operations with integrated and optimized workflows and work orders. Oh, I think I accidentally hit the button there. So we want to integrate store processes with workflows. Oh, it seems to be transitioning on its own. Apologize for that, guys. All right, so we want to empower employees and frontline managers with case management and store portals. We want to provide that frontline staff with autonomy and resources so they can identify, report, and resolve on-site issues. So some issues need to go back to your headquarters or your IT or your facilities groups to help resolve, and others can be resolved in store, directly by your in-store support teams, whether it's the cashiers, your store managers, et cetera. We want to minimize the time that the staff spends on asking for help by automating case routing, right? So if they know they need help, or if you know a certain type of issue, you have maybe an outage on a smart device like one of your restaurant refrigerator systems, right? If it's, we can automate an alert that creates a ticket that gets assigned directly to the team that needs to handle that, so that your staff that is in the store doesn't need to, identify that ticket, doesn't need to enter the ticket, and doesn't need to then follow up to make sure it gets into the right hands. So automation really is going to be a way to help ensure that the folks that are in the store are really focused on servicing the customer and driving sales. And then we want to make sure that they have the right visibility into what they need. So when we talk about the business location service portal, we're going to talk about how that provides the right context and the right information that's relevant to each person that's involved in that value chain for the customer. And then again, we're going to save employees time by streamlining common requests. And then we want to simplify the store associate experience to really make sure that they're able to focus on what they need to. So wanted to jump ahead here and get into what does this product look like? I assume we have some administrators and some implementers on the call with us today, and thank you for joining us. This slide here really represents what we can build kind of under the covers to support the retail workflows using the retail ops product, the retail service management product, and then the both included field service management as well as what might be optional add-ons for field service management. So just starting on the right, because I really want to highlight how we can model the stores and the various locations, and that's going to drive some of these workflows. So you can see at the top we have the company headquarters, and then underneath that we've got various areas. You might have some internal territories, a region or a district, or you might have a brand. You might be organized more by brand, right, where you have 3 or 4 brands and they may have their own stores. So that could be considered the area at the highest level. And then under those, you're going to have potentially multiple stores. And then on the other side, we've got more of that franchise model where you have a single franchise owner might have multiple franchises that they care about. So being able to model these entities will then enable us as we move forward in the implementation to ensure that the folks at each of these levels can see not only the data for their particular level, but also everything under that. So the regional manager can see all of the tickets for all of their stores, but the store employees aren't, it's not muddied up for them. They're basically looking at only the stores that they're associated to. So this shows how we can model those entities properly, and then that'll enable us to provide the right context through the tool for the various data and requests and knowledge content and cases, et cetera, that are applicable only to them for them to accomplish their job. And then on the left, we've got more of that headquarter view where you got your fulfillers. They're potentially going to identify things that need to be escalated either back to the store and provide instructions. Hey, for you on-site store employee, here's a case that's assigned to you, and here's a playbook that enables you to walk through these steps to be able to resolve this on site. So we don't need to schedule a separate field service visit. It's something you can accomplish right now. Sometimes you do need to send somebody out either because of parts or specific expertise. So with the field service management basic, you're enabled to create a work order that can be assigned then either to a store employee if you've got somebody with a specific expertise, or to a field service tech that can then receive that notification on their mobile device, find the inventory that they need, and then fulfill that work order on site at the store. We'll talk a little bit more about the dispatching and other field service technology here, but that is enabled through the purchase of some additional field service management licensing if you need a more robust scheduling and dispatching function. That wouldn't necessarily apply for folks that outsource your field service. So a lot of times you don't need that additional product purchase. You can essentially route work orders to your outsourced field service providers. So again, what I want to really highlight on this is we can model the internal and the external business entities, whether they be franchises or dealerships, et cetera. And then we can essentially provide the right visibility for each level to each person as needed. So that service model foundation that we've talked about that provides that framework, right? It essentially allows you to create a structured and flexible data model that represents your retail business needs necessary to provide service to your customers. So those might be the service organizations. They might be internal business locations, stores, restaurants, or branches, for example. Might be external business locations such as franchises or dealerships. We can model your customers, whether if you're a business to business model, then you can model your customers as accounts and contacts. If you're a business to consumer business, you can model those as households and customers. So it's flexible in that sense. And if you do both, you can essentially model both ways. And then you also can represent your employees and staff in that data model, as well as all the relationships between both your employees and customers, or even between two consumers. So for example, you might have a husband and a wife, and they need to have access to each other's information. All of that is supported with these retail data models that come with the service model foundation as part of that retail operations product. So this is just another, illustrative example of how a service model would lay out with a specific example. So for example, you've got the retail headquarters at the top, and then you have two areas underneath, the east and the west, and maybe the east is a franchise model, so you can represent those franchise groups as well as the individual franchise locations. And then the west is a company-owned model, so you've got a Texas region and a California region, and then the specific locations under those. And then we kind of break out the Santa Clara store as an example on the right. So once you've got that modeled properly, now you can start to tie the staff into that specific location. So your cashiers, your customer service agents, and your managers can be then linked directly to that store. So again, when you're managing tickets and knowledge and various elements of providing service at that store, that's what those staff members are able to see through your business location service portal. We can also model things like your install base, which includes the various systems and technologies that you're supporting within that store. So your point of sale systems, if you're a restaurant, you might have like I said, smart equipment like refrigerators, or if you're a gas station company, you might have gas pumps, right? That can provide monitoring integrations and things like that. So you're going to track all of that through your install base, and then be able to log tickets against that, provide automated remediations of certain types of tickets, and all the various things that you might do today with ITSM. You can now do that with these retail workflows as well. And then you can, again, have support requests. They might be, I need to repair my point of sale system. I might need to repair my card reader. I might need to do routine maintenance on my HVAC system, or I might need to do ad hoc maintenance on my HVAC system. So those types of requests. And then you've also got knowledge and, really anything you can think of from a service perspective is all tied back into that store, so that all the folks at the store are now getting that visibility. So we talked about the business location service portal, but essentially it's the analogous to the service portal for employees when you're talking about things like employee workflows. But when you're talking about retail workflows, it's no longer employee centric. It's now store centric or location centric. So somebody reports a ticket on the first shift, and it may be a high priority and you need to be monitored and resolved as soon as possible. But maybe that shift ends and now you're onto the second shift. But you don't have to worry about that, being lost in translation, because that person's gone. They've signed out of the portal. The emails, are going to them, and nobody else is able to see them. Instead, you're getting the visibility at the store level. So the next person, comes in on the shift, signs into the location service portal, and they can see all those same tickets, and they can comment, escalate, provide additional information as needed to make sure that ticket keeps moving through the process, regardless of which person happens to be working that at that time. So this is, I really want to pause here and just kind of highlight this. What we see with a lot of our existing customers who have implemented service management for their retail locations, but didn't do so using the retail products because the product wasn't in existence yet for ServiceNow. We've had to work around the sort of the way that ITSM or CSM are designed to really be more specific to a person or to even a household. But now we're really making these specific to a store or location. So this is a real game changer here for those folks that have had to work around that. Working around that requires creating of customizations that increase technical debt. There's limitations around security and some of those automated workflows. We'll talk about that a little bit more here, but this is really a key element of implementing the retail product set versus some of the previous existing workflow products of ServiceNow. And again, I guess just to highlight again, it isn't just the folks directly affiliated with that store that could see the various tickets for that, but it's anyone up the chain. So the regional managers, the headquarters, if you've got multiple layers of territory hierarchy, everyone at each level can see the things below. So it's really an elegant way to make sure that the visibility is there. So I've touched on some of this here, but what are the retail product advantages that you have for ITSM versus the retail advantages over ITSM alone or CSM alone, or even a combination of ITSM and CSM? So as we've talked about, the retail products were built specifically for the retail industry. So you get that service model foundation in those retail data models. There are some data models included in CSM Pro SKU, but now you can get those instead through the RSM Pro SKU, which, as I mentioned before, it does include entitlements for CSM and ITSM. So again, it's that one product set that really gives you all the different pieces that enable you to do the retail workflows. There's also a pre-built retail case type. So for those that have implemented CSM, you'll understand what a case type does, but I'll go into that just a little bit here. By having a special case type for retail, that essentially segments your retail cases into their own numbering scheme, their own form layout. You can collect different information for a retail case than you might for another case in a different part of your organization, like an HR case or a workplace service delivery case, right? So with a retail case, you can make sure you're collecting all the necessary information associated with the location, maybe associated with the impacted customer, or anything else that may be necessary that's unique to that retail case. And then it gives you the ability to have those retail cases managed by a team that's what they're supposed to do. Their job is to manage retail cases in your, you might have a retail service team, right, that does maybe your tier 1 or your tier 2 of those cases that come in. They can now focus on those retail cases, not have to filter through a generic case type. So this is provided out of the box, this retail case type. You don't have to build a custom case type like it used to be the case when you would implement CSM in a more generic way. And as I mentioned, it does include CSM entitlement and all the capabilities and features. So things like playbooks, various workflows, Gen AI integrations, all of that you get with CSM, you get with RSM as part of that bundle. And then it does allow for seamless integration with other parts of your ServiceNow platform. So, this is a differentiator when it comes to, especially a point solution. So because this is all, in a natively integrated system, you can, as I mentioned before, you can track your install base in the same CMDB. You can integrate with your ITSM. So if you do have an issue that needs to be resolved by an IT change or an IT problem, those retail cases can be linked to those IT tickets, so that you have that visibility. So you say, okay, I need to escalate this issue to my IT team, but you want to maintain visibility on the customer and the store support side. You can do that with the integration with ITSM. Similarly, with field service management, you can route issues that need to have a field tech dispatched to the location with all the inventory management and scheduling features that come with that. That's all seamlessly integrated through the tool. Workplace service delivery is another example. You might have an issue that is essentially needs to be resolved by your workplace team or your essentially your facilities team. That can be facilitated through integration with your WSD implementation. So again, really where ServiceNow excels, I think I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but is really tying together all the different workflows across your organization and providing that seamless end-to-end process automation. We do have some folks that, like I mentioned before, that before there was a retail product, you still need to solve your retail service use cases. So a lot of times that's been done using ITSM or CSM. You use incidents or cases or tasks to track the store support issues, but that ultimately creates the technical debt that I alluded to before. So you've got customizations because you have to essentially build a retail data model, right? It didn't come out of the box. So you had to mimic that using custom tables, using potentially the location table, creating custom security logic so that once you've modeled that, you can make sure that the various users have the access to the right information based on their store associations and things like that. All of that had to be built custom. Now that all just comes in the product. And then that results in relatively convoluted configurations, and like I said, also customizations around not only the user experience layer, but also your business flow logic in the back end, your business rules, your flows, your workflows. And then analytics had to be, you had to add additional logic to your analytics to separate what's an incident from a retail incident, right? If you're putting your retail issues into the incident table, now you've got a muddying between your true kind of back end IT incidents and now your store related incidents that may or may not even be for technology related things, right? If you've got a broken window and you put that in as an incident, now that's intermixed with your incident table. So this essentially separates that out and gives you a clean a clean implementation around that retail. So again, there's user access issues unless you build customization. There's data visibility challenges. I mentioned one person creates a ticket and they don't share that information with someone else, then they're the only one that knows. Or if they leave their shift, then that information sits for until they come back on shift. Maybe that's a weekend, maybe that's a week if they've got vacation. So So, as implementers, this makes our life easier, but it really, simplifies the maintenance and operation upgrades, et cetera, for you when you're going through the long-term ownership of this. So let's talk about some specific scenarios that we can address with the retail products. So we can report a store break fix, right? You've got it with retail ops and RSM products combined. We can take a store issue and resolve that either at the store location, or if it needs to be escalated elsewhere, that can happen through these tools. So the key capabilities to provide this support: the business location service portal we've talked about, the service catalog. Again, you can have a separate catalog that is a store specific catalog, and you can have multiple theoretically if you have different types of stores. And you can share those catalog items across the catalog, similar to how you can do with ITSM, but that same capability is available in the retail product set, as well as knowledge management. Creating a knowledge base that is specific to certain stores, certain brands, even certain level in the organization. You might want a cashier to have access to how do I do some simple rudimentary triaging or remediation of issues, but others you might only make available or visible to a store manager who has maybe a deeper level of training, so that those knowledge bases can be tailored to your user criteria just like they can with ITSM. So essentially, in this scenario, there's a visit to the portal to check if an issue is reported. You can consult a knowledge base for similar issues. You can open a case when you have something like broken equipment, and then we can streamline the store reporting to minimize the downtime. Right. So we're looking at creating a catalog item for a specific. I have a refrigerator that won't hold its temperature. Right. So there's a specific catalog item for that issue. It gets automatically routed to the appropriate agent to resolve that, to minimize what your store person has to do. You might even be able to provide some playbook or some knowledge content to help them troubleshoot it themselves before they submit the ticket. So we can really streamline those things to expedite the resolution. And then providing customer service in store. So this, I want to differentiate this from the not in store, because that really affects which products you would need. So if you're providing in-store service, you're looking at the retail ops and the retail service management products combined. Again, you're looking to improve customer experience by managing requests and complaints in a central platform that coordinates both the headquarters and the store customer service, right? So that's really the key, is it provides that tie between not only the headquarters, but also that in-store experience. So again, the business location service portal, case management, and then we add omni-channel support here as part of that workflow. So you might get a phone call from the store, you might get a customer call while they're in the store to your headquarters, right? If they're frustrated and they go ahead and look you up and give you a call directly. So again, it's both of these products are necessary to provide that in-store customer service. I'm going to jump ahead to the last one here, and then I'll come back. So contrasting the last one where it's an in-store support with maybe a customer complaint where they're not in the store. For this use case, you do not need the retail operations product. So you can implement the retail service management. Let's say you're doing customer service, but you don't operate your own locations. You might sell through other providers. Maybe you have products sold in other stores. And so when you're getting customer complaints, it's not from your own store, but it's directly from customer. You can accomplish those with the RSM product without the RO product. So that would instead be a customer service portal, configurable workspace for your agents to work their tickets, and then that omni-channel support. So your customer might submit a customer portal ticket. They might email you, they might call you, they might chat with you via chatbot or through your contact us on your website. So those various channels can all be supported here. But again, you do not need the retail operations product because you don't need to model the store hierarchy. That's not necessary for this use case. So, if you're thinking about what products to buy, think about whether you're providing in-store support. Either way, we're recommending the RSM product, but then you may or may not need the RO product. So just to come back to the last use case here, as I mentioned before, you can assign tasks directly to each store. These might be where you're resolving an issue in the store for a customer, and you can provide them with instructions on how to solve that customer's problem and assign them those instructions as tasks. Or you might have a situation where you've got something that's a routine or planned maintenance type of situation that needs to be done in the store, and you want to assign that. So you might assign to a manager to do a safety check on your fire extinguishers once a month to ensure that those are still up to code and are functioning. So if you do have an issue, but you're doing that proactively versus there's a fire and now you're asking them to check the fire extinguisher, right? So you're looking at proactive maintenance there. But anytime you need to have a task assigned to a store, that can be accomplished with the business location service portal with playbooks, again, to help walk them through how to do some of those things. And again, that service model foundation gives you the ability to have that go to the store so it can be accomplished by really anybody at that store. And then the work order management, it might be something that you're going to assign as a work order associated with a case or an issue that's been requested, but you don't need to submit it to a field service tech because it's a work order that could be accomplished via someone in the store already. So again, this use case is again requires the retail ops and the RSM SKUs. So again, to summarize, if you're doing customer service use case, then you have just your customer working with directly with the service agent, no store involved. That can be accomplished with the RSM product. If you've got a store involved and you also want to service customers either through the store or directly, then you would do that with the RSM plus the RO product sets. So where does field service management come in with retail? As mentioned before, there is a field service management basic that is included in the retail ops product. So if you're doing just basic work order management, inventory management, you do not need to then purchase a higher level licensing for field service management. But where we get into that, where it's gonna make sense to consider that field service management licensing would be where you need a more robust scheduling and dispatching function, for example. If you go to the ServiceNow website, again, I don't want to make this a full FSM webinar here, but if you go to the ServiceNow website, you can find various tiers of products and what they include. But the kind of the big obvious items where you would want to then upgrade from what comes with it, with the RO product, is really where you need to do scheduling and dispatching and some of that. Some of the optimization features around the scheduling and the dispatching capabilities. So if you have a lot of in-house field service that you perform, I would definitely talk to your ServiceNow rep about those products. If you outsource most of your field service and those folks are not necessarily going to use your ServiceNow system, then you might not need anything other than what comes with the retail operations product. You can create work orders. You can assign those work orders to your vendors. You can send them email notifications about those work orders and various details. So you don't need the additional product for that. So, like every ServiceNow product, the implementation is a journey, to get that full transformation. Where what we typically see most and recommend commonly is that, start with the crawl. You want to you really need to make sure you're modeling your business effectively and getting your store digitized, right? Being able to represent your stores in that data model with your, the various employees that are associated to it, the various products that are installed at that point, and the various knowledge and catalog necessary to support that store. You need to get those basics in place, and then from there you can start to integrate processes with your other CSM across your different departments, your HR, your facilities, security operations, ITSM, of course, and then start to streamline those workflows. And by streamline, I mean optimize the workflow so they can be performed manually, but with the minimum of steps. And then once you have well-oiled processes that are largely manual, now you're in a position where you can automate, optimize, and implement some of those intelligent insights with the Gen AI and other machine learning type solutions from ServiceNow that you can get with some of the higher level products. So we typically try to advise our clients, buy what you're going to use in the foreseeable future. Don't buy everything in the kitchen sink. But have a roadmap to get there, right? Work with your implementation partner and your ServiceNow sales reps to have a roadmap to go from crawl to walk to run, and then ultimately, beyond, right? There's, there will always be, new capabilities coming out, things that you're going to want to consider. So you just want to go about it the right way, so you're in position to continue to to add value as you implement more and more features and functions. So, common implementation paths among our retail clients. So I'm speaking as, Sigital here and what the work that we're doing with our retail, clients in this space. So we really see kind of two scenarios. We see clients that are new to ServiceNow, don't use ServiceNow today for retail or for anything, or they're at least new to ServiceNow for retail operations use case. Maybe they're doing ITSM and maybe HRSD or ITOM in ServiceNow, but they're not doing their retail support. That's in a different tool, or it's ad hoc processes, in some legacy tool. So they would be new to implementing the retail service product. And then the other scenario we see is where they're using ServiceNow ITSM or CSM in a sort of customized way for the retail operations use cases. So they may have ServiceNow or CSM product in use for managing retail incidents or retail cases or retail requests, but within the same tables, the same, essentially platform infrastructure, right? That you're doing your ITSM and other CSM workflows, right? So these things are intermingled, creating the issues we talked about before. And you're potentially using a service portal or maybe employee center portal, but using it for your stores. So you've got the issues around the things are linked to users instead of being linked to stores, and the visibility isn't there because of that. So in either case, again, the path to value is really what I've got listed here in roughly chronological order here. So again, starting with that retail operations service model foundation, getting the retail entities, the stores, the areas, the locations represented in that data model, linking it properly to the users, is really where you're going to lay the foundation for success. And then that step two is those retail service management workflows, especially case management, right? Being able to take issues from stores in a number of different, through a number of different channels, and being able to then manage those efficiently and effectively through fulfillment. And then process integrations with ITSM. I list ITSM in particular here because a lot of our customers are coming from a situation where they're using ServiceNow for ITSM. So there's a natural opportunity there. And a lot of the store issues for our customers require IT support to rectify, right? Because if you have smart equipment like a refrigerator or a gas pump, right, that's able to, self-report, errors or events, right, that can be then tracked in your system. These are technology items, right? They're technology items that are beyond just, computers and workstations and mobile devices and servers and switches, right? But they're still IT equipment, right? So there's a natural tie between providing service and for these stores and the ITSM processes. So that's usually a really good opportunity to start to build some process integrations. And then that business location service portal is really essential to getting that in-store experience for your staff, right? It's going to provide a store-focused view into things, right? As a store employee, I really have kind of two frames of reference. One is as myself, the employee, and I'm going to do the natural employee things and maybe the employee center, right, where I can request a change to my address, or I can check my pay stub, or I can maybe enroll in benefits, right? Those are specific to me, and those are going to happen again in the employee center or service portal. Hopefully, employee center if you guys are up on that, and if not, we can help you with that as well. But the other view is really when I'm in the store, I'm focused on doing my job. I really need to be laser focused on store issues, and that's where the business location service portal is a game changer, right? So now I don't get distracted by things that are my own ticket. Maybe I got a call, a response from the HR department about my question. When I'm in the store and I'm wearing my apron or I'm servicing customers behind the counter, I need to be really, really focused on that, and that's where the business location service portal is really essential. And then, consider expanding the field service workflows, especially, again, as I mentioned, if you're performing field service in-house and you have a robust field service team with a lot of areas that they're covering, a lot of inventory to manage, and you really need to optimize those processes and how those get scheduled and dispatched. There's definitely a lot of value there in that field service management product set, whether it be field service management, standard, professional, or enterprise. Keys to success, again, design that store experience for simplicity, right? I imagine, like a lot of our retail clients, that in-store service representative, whether it be a cashier or whatever, that's a high potential turnover position relative to some of your back office teams, your HR teams, your IT teams, your facilities teams. Those are going to have a little bit lower turnover. So with that higher turnover, you want low training, you want simple user experiences, you want to have it be prescriptive, right, with playbooks and things like that. So you want to make sure you're designing with that simplicity, with the self-service, and with that visibility in mind. So that, again, when they leave the shift or they forget to tell someone, there's other people that can see that same information. So those are really keys to designing that portal. And you're really looking to minimize the time store spent seeking help. So you're maximizing how much time they're spending actually driving profitability and driving customer satisfaction. So, this is just a very high level kind of the, how we help our customers along those paths. Definitely, think about those and feel free to reach out for additional information that's specific to your use cases. So just about some of the other ways that, Sigital helps our customers. We offer what we call a retail portal accelerator. Again, getting that initial retail portal in there is really a game changer, that business location service portal to replace in the store use cases that service portal that you may have today, or to provide a portal where you have none today, where everything has to be through email or phone, right? The nightmare that creates in terms of threads of email that go on forever, and trying to reach somebody on a phone who's no longer on the shift, right? So all of that gets solved with this retail portal accelerator. So we really just get you as fast as possible up on that retail portal. And that, like I said, lays the foundation for really automating and optimizing those workflows later. And again, we focus on really what is that apron on experience versus the apron on experience. You'll hear ServiceNow talk about this a lot if you're ever working with their sales reps. So really, this retail product is really that apron on specific experience. And then if you don't know what you need, right? It's like we know our process is kludgy today. We know that there's a lot of opportunity for improvement, but we don't really know where to start. We don't really know from a system perspective or even a process perspective. We do offer a legacy ServiceNow assessment, right? So if you're using ServiceNow today, and you're not sure what is it going to take to get me onto the retail product, how much technical debt do I have, and what's it going to take to unwind that, and what does it mean for my licensing? I already have licenses for all these people for other products, but I want to get them on the retail product. Do we have to add licensing? Do we change licensing? We can advise on that. Certainly your ServiceNow reps will help with the licensing as well, but we are a reseller, so we can help with licensing conversations. We can be your advocate when it comes to, figuring out what is the right counts of the various types of products. So this assessment is essentially a way for us to kind of help you, look at what you have today and lay out that roadmap and lay out a plan, right? A plan to get there. And then from there, you can decide, on your investment level and your timing and figure out, your budgeting and things like that. So I guess just lastly, this is what Sigital, does across the ServiceNow platform. We do assessments, we do, we have technical support experts, we have managed services if you need to augment your team or to bring in specific expertise or bandwidth that your team can't provide. As far as managing and operating your platform, we implement the product, right? The retail product is an area we specialize in, but really, as I said, my team's responsible for all of the employee and customer workflows, so it's beyond just retail. We also have an engineering team that does, SecOps and ITOM, discovery, event management, service mapping, et cetera. And then we have, general strategy and consulting. Some of it is our assessments, but also just general advisory services. So again, if you're not sure what you need and you just need, somebody that's been there, done that, been around the block a few times, we can provide that type of guidance at the, kind of the CIO level all the way down to the administrator level. And then if your platform, you've been on it for a long time and it's just gotten a little rough around the edges and you need some optimization, maybe eliminate technical debt, go back to baseline on some things, implement modules that may have been missed when you did upgrades. Those are things that we do a lot of for our legacy customers. And then platform automation, right? You've got this great platform, you've implemented a lot of things, but you don't have nearly the automation that you want, and you want to really kind of eliminate a lot of work for your humans and maybe refocus them on more important things. That platform automation we help our clients with a lot as well. So I think that's it for what I have, but I'm definitely, we have some time for questions. We got looks like about 7 minutes left. So Alyssa, do we have any questions? Let me look in the Q&A here as well. As a presenter, it's not quite so obvious how to do that.
Yeah, Steve, we had a couple questions come in on the background via PM. The first one that I thought was good was, can you elaborate on the benefits of using a unified retail platform over multiple point solutions?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And that is, essentially that is the case for ServiceNow in many, many areas, not just retail. But, essentially, as I mentioned before, ServiceNow is excellent at connecting various processes, right? And I say it like processes as opposed to systems, although it's excellent at connecting systems. What we're really trying to do and help our customers, and where ServiceNow is really a great tool, is connecting those processes. Some of those processes may be in ServiceNow. Some of those are likely to be in other systems. ServiceNow, for example, is not an HRIS system, right? It does a great job of HR workflows around onboarding, offboarding, managing customer issues, providing knowledge base around HR. But it also is a great way to connect to your Workday system or your PeopleSoft system for those that have more of a legacy tool. It really has all the platform for integrating those pieces together. What we like to do, and where I think the retail product applies, is if you have ITSM or you have CSM and you want to now improve or optimize your retail service, putting that all in one tool gives you that complete visibility where you can see all of the various tickets that might be related to a store, whether it be a facilities ticket or whether it might be a technology ticket, right? Having all that in one system gives you that single pane of glass and that ability to automate and optimize and streamline those processes really across those different departments. There are some great point solutions out there, and I'm not going to tell you that ServiceNow should replace all of them. And when you do need those, through REST APIs, through Integration Hub and Spokes, and even through some older technologies like inbound email actions, there's RPA. I'm gonna skip on that acronym for a second, but basically automation of tools. So there's any number of ways to integrate those systems as well. So I think I answered that, Alyssa. What's the next question?
The next question is, for supporting our restaurants, we use incidents and requests with some customizations. If we decided to implement retail service case management for this, would we need to convert our restaurants' incidents and requests into retail cases, or should we start fresh?
God, these are really good questions. That's another great question, and I think the short answer is it depends. But generally speaking, we try to steer our customers towards starting clean. And by that I mean don't convert your existing records. Those records are there. There are ways that we can hide them if they're cluttering the reporting of your ITSM team. We can advise as to ways to adjust your reporting so that those can be essentially hidden from view from those folks, while at the same time providing reporting that can show you those items combined with the newer retail cases in a single view. But ultimately, your data is going to be cleaner, and your implementation is going to be less expensive if you don't go through the rigmarole of trying to massage the data from one table format into a newer table format. So generally speaking, we advise against converting them, but certainly it can be done, and we have done it in limited, I would say, limited use cases where there's really a high value to doing so. There is occasionally a business case for that. Great question.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. The last question that we have is, we have a service portal today with a plan to upgrade to Employee Center. Should we use this as our store portal or implement a new portal for stores?
Yeah, another good question. I'm guessing that came in before I talked about that a little bit, but yeah, so we definitely recommend having that store specific portal, and you might even have more than one store specific portal depending on your on your particular business. If you have different brands, like we have some customers that run multiple different restaurant chains. So, you might even have multiple different portals that would be, similar and have a lot of reused aspects to them. But, essentially you want to separate that store portal experience from the employee portal experience so that when I'm working in the store servicing customers, I'm not distracted from things that aren't related to that mission, right? So, but again, you can reuse knowledge across portals. By having them be part of multiple knowledge bases or having those knowledge bases visible in multiple portals. You can have, so there's definitely an opportunity for reuse. So you're not maintaining, the same catalog item in three places or the same knowledge article in three places. But you're going to be able to have, unique branding, right? If you've got three different chains, maybe you run, I'm trying to think of ones that go together. Maybe you run a Burger King as well as Popeyes, right? You might have a Burger King store portal that's branded Burger King, and it might have unique things to Burger King in it. And you're also going to have a store portal for Popeyes that has its own Popeyes flavors of things. But again, that what you're really trying to do is optimize the experience of that in-store employee so that you can train them faster. There's lower ramp up. There's less time spent asking for help or weeding through things that don't apply to me or to my use cases. So definitely want to do that store portal. That's really where you're going to get a lot of that value.
Great answer, Steve. Thank you.
Yep. Was that our last question then?
That was.
Well, good timing. Thank you very much to everyone that was able to attend, and also thank you for those that watch it in replay later. And again, if you have any needs or anything you would like help with or want to discuss, you can reach out to me directly, or you can reach out to Sigital also. And if I don't answer your question, I'll make sure that somebody does. And we love the opportunity to have a conversation. We love learning about how folks are using the platform and what your opportunities are for doing so. And absent that, have a great rest of your week and a great holiday season. Thanks a lot for attending.